My son's savings account was supposed to grow £10 weekly, but my fiance's been pocketing the money and demanding I rob my daughter's fund. Now, his worst nightmare is discovering honesty costs more than £40 a month. I, 29F, have two children, daughter, 12F, and son, 6M, with different fathers. My ex, my daughter's father, and I have a joint savings account where we've been depositing £10 per week each since I found out I was pregnant with her. After 13 years, at £20 a week between us, her account has £13,240 and is going up by a little over £1,000 a year. When I found out I was pregnant with my son, I created another savings account for him. My fiancé, his father, had a pre-existing savings account with a couple hundred in it and thought he could build off that, so we have separate savings accounts for our son. After 7 years, at £10 a week, the account I have for my son has £3,610. If my fiancé was also contributing £10 a week, the way my daughter's dad is for her, my son would have over £7,000, but as my fiancé uses a separate account, I couldn't keep track the way I could with my daughter's account. My fiancé says that the account for our son that he controls only has a couple hundred, so while our son should have over £7,000 in savings already, he has less than £4,000. It looks like not only has my fiancé consistently forgotten to put money in, but he's withdrawn two amounts, one for half the cost of our son's school uniform and one for the cost of his football kit. The idea of these accounts is that the children get them when they turn 18 and they aren't touched in the meantime, so they can use them to help fund university or put money towards a car or use it for rent, or even if they just want something really impractical and stupidly expensive that they can't afford otherwise. I make a bit more than my fiancé, but not much. I could afford to mass deposit the missing money right now and have to tighten our belts next month, or I could put double in my son's account until the difference is made up, which would be about 7 years from now. My fiancé thinks I should either total and then equally divide the amount in both accounts between the children or take what's missing from my daughter's account. My fiancé says he can't afford to make up the difference right now himself, and he won't be able to do £20 a week for 7 years until the amount is made up. We have shared savings, about £2,000 in the emergency fund, and a joint account for household expenses like food and bills. We could take it from that, but the emergency fund is for emergencies. It just doesn't seem fair that my daughter has significantly more than my son has, but I don't know how to fix it without being unfair to her. Additional info: technically he's actually my fiancé, not my husband, but we've been together 7 years, lived together for as long, and are wedding planning. I make the most of all the parents, followed by my fiancé, followed by my ex, my daughter's father. Taking money from my daughter was never an option as far as I was concerned, but it's what he suggested. The wedding fund has about £2,000 in it. I thought it was less, but I just sat down and counted it all out. It's literally a jar of cash. I could just put the wedding fund as it stands in my son's account without having to touch the emergency savings, and if I did that, then my son would be a lot closer to where he should be, and my fiancé would only have to pay double for a couple of years to make up the difference. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. He lied to you about £10 a week for over 7 years, and asked you to take money from your daughter to make up for it. Are you still going to marry him? Everyone is behaving inappropriately. Edit. Everyone is behaving inappropriately is my judgment if the original poster goes through with marrying this guy. And it seems like she is. So, everyone is behaving inappropriately. Up. We're taking a break as of about 20 minutes ago. Commenter 2. Heads up, taking a break means broken up. You've broken up. You might not look at it that way, but he will. Up. Yes. We've broken up. I was going to take a break before deciding, but the more I think about all the red flags, the angrier I get at both myself and him. Mini update. I asked him again why he didn't have the money. He said he just didn't. I asked him to bring up his bank statement, payslip, or anything that shows how much money he has, bearing in mind he was last paid on the 28th and today is the 30th. He refused. I told him that if we were combining finances in any way, I should be able to see where his money is going. He responded that I wasn't showing him my financial information, so I pulled up my banking app so he could see my own balance and transaction history. He then showed me his last statement, which his bank emailed him today. We had a fight, and he's staying in a hotel tonight, which it turns out he can more than afford. He has nearly £60,000 in his personal current account and savings accounts, presumably meant solely for himself. I cannot see us getting married after this. Not ever. It's not just the trust issue, but also that he, knowing he had nearly £60,000 in savings, decided that it was okay to try and guilt-trip me into taking money meant for my daughter to fix it for him. Update, 1 day later. So for those just joining us, my fiancé, the father of my youngest, of 2 children, had told me for years that he had an account that he was putting £10 a week in for the child that is biologically related to him, to match the separate account I had where I was also putting in money for our son. Turns out he was lying. He had a couple hundred when he should have had over 10x that. His solution was to take money from my daughter, who is not biologically related to him, because myself and her biological father have both been contributing £10 a week each since I got pregnant. He then tried to guilt me into giving my son the money meant for my daughter, saying if I didn't then I would be showing favoritism, and I was stuck as I felt that whatever I did I would be being unfair to at least one person. A short while ago I asked to see my fiance's bank statement, as it is sent out on the 30th of every month and he gets paid on the 28th. He immediately got cagey, and said that it wasn't fair as I wasn't showing him my accounts, so I used my banking app to show him my accounts, and he, eventually, begrudgingly, brought up his own. He has more than 3x what is missing from our son's savings account in his current account, plus an additional savings account with 4x that. So essentially after leading me to believe he had put aside 3.5k for our son, he admitted he had only allotted him a few hundred, when I had actually put aside the 3.5k combined with his. He then, instead of admitting he had nearly £60,000 at his disposal, he told me to take money from my daughter to give to our son. When I asked him what he thought he was doing, he replied that he didn't see the point to creating a savings account for our son for when he turns 18 as he is currently 6. I explained the whole concept of saving up again, and he repeated that our son wouldn't need the money for years, so what's the point of building it up for the last 7 years, and for the next 11? I told him that he could have just told me this 7 years ago instead of lying to me, and he could have told me the truth any point in the last few days, where I have been tearing my hair out over what to do to make it up to our son, and he has watched me struggle over deciding what to do and dismissed me as being dramatic and worrying over nothing. He is currently staying in a hotel, and we are officially on a break. I don't see me forgiving him anytime soon, but we have a son to think about, so if absolutely nothing else, I'm going to have to figure out how to be in the same room as him. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. When I asked him what he thought he was doing, he replied that he didn't see the point to creating a savings account for our son for when he turns 18 as he is currently 6. I explained the whole concept of saving up again and he repeated that our son wouldn't need the money for years, so what's the point of building it up for the last 7 years, and for the next 11? Does he plan to just outright give him the whole sum when he turns 18? This is the only possible explanation that makes sense to me. The man has saved up 60k, so he knows the value of saving. It sounds much more plausible that he's a selfish horse behind who is only thinking of himself and cannot even give up £40 a month for his own son's future. Mind blown from rage. I really hope the wedding is off permanently. And if you've been together 7 years, you might want to get a lawyer. Hopefully common law spouse is a thing where you are. OP, one of the things he said was that saving now didn't matter because he could just give our son the money when he needs it and buy him stuff in the meantime, so he apparently can predict the future now and say with certainty that he'll still have all of this money over a decade from now. Wedding is 100% off. In UK. Not sure of the legal side, but we'll set up a consultation with a lawyer. Commenter 2. I hate to say it, but this relationship most likely can't survive. And it shouldn't. These types of trust issues are hard to get past. You say you need to be able to be in the same room with him and co-parent, but that doesn't mean you have to marry him. If I were you, I would deposit the wedding account into your son's account. Sue this gentleman for child support and put £40 a month from that into his account to match what you're already depositing. It will suck because it's 40 less you'll have for his actual support, but you seem to make a good living. I would also make sure your son knows, when the account is turned over to him at 18, that the money came from you and only you. But that's just because I'm petty. OP, it hasn't survived. I do still need to figure out how to co-parent with him, but I'm not marrying him. I'm not going to touch the shared funds right now. I want to consult a lawyer first, just in case putting shared funds into the account, even if it is for our son, could have legal repercussions. I do make a good living, and I don't really need child support to maintain our current lifestyle, but I'll see what the lawyer says. Commenter 3. Info, I just need to know about the look on this gentleman's face when he showed you his bank accounts. I need to know if this gentleman had 1 ounce of remorse, or an explanation, or had the decency to look ashamed of himself. I don't understand how a person can lie so thoroughly and for so long. That's world-class sociopathy. I wouldn't let my kids near a person capable of that level of deceit. OP, he didn't do any of that. He looked a bit put off. Just sort of like he realized it was over. But then he tried to justify it, saying that our son was just going to waste it once he was an adult.